In the post-conflict context, one of the things you need to understand is that you usually have the broader challenges of infrastructure that was destroyed during the war. For instance, roads are not accessible, there's no electricity, institutions are weak because maybe the war would have lasted for quite a long time, so universities were not working, people were not doing research, so you're working with people who have very low capacity, and you need to be patient with them, you need to take them through the basics again, and there's also the issues around security, working in an environment that is just waking up from war or just recovering, and there will be security issues. So, and generally, or particularly, if you want to reach the poorest and the marginalized in a post-conflict country like Liberia or Sierra Leone, you have to go to those unreachable places. For instance, some of the communities where we work, they are not motorable, so we have to walk for another 2 to 3 hours after we've parked our car, because the car can only go to a certain point. I mean, that's part of the challenges you face. We do a number of things. First of all, we do a baseline survey. It's a way of ensuring that we have data that sort of justifies where we should work. We also look at research reports like the Human Development Index for countries. We also look at national economic reports that do some sort of economic benchmarking of which parts of the country are the poorest. And then we also look at reports that are produced by other prayer organizations like maybe UNICEF working in that country, to see what their study report also says. And of course, we complement all that with our own research to be able to say, okay, these are the poorest, and these are the people who suffer most from lack of access to safe water, and this is who we're going to reach because of our values on equity and inclusion and rights. We usually would have developed indicators for our work going forward before we even start, and we use those indicators to measure. We measure impact because we're looking at how water and sanitation is contributing to people's lives, to people's well-being. For instance, how has water and sanitation helped a girl to be able to stay in school? We measure such things. Or how has water and sanitation reduced child mortality in a particular area, so what has been the impact of our work? So we measure impact, based on some of these other indicators, like a woman, how much time has she saved to spend on economic activities as a result of having access to safe water and improved sanitation near her house. She doesn't have to go to the hospital to spend money on sanitation-related diseases. Her children are able to go to school. There are no risks of a girl child being raped because she doesn't have access to safe toilet and she has to go to the bush. These are some of the indicators we look at when we measure the impact of our work. And we find, then there's also the softer side of things where you see that people now are happy. Sometimes we go to communities to commission water points, and there's so much joy because it's the first time they are having safe water, maybe in 20 years, in 15 years, and it's like, wow, this is it. The children are smiling, everyone is jumping, because they know it's going to be of value to their lives, and that this is change. Because what we measure is not a completed activity, we measure change. We have our strategic aim as WaterAid. The aim 3 of our strategic aim looks at WASH in human development, water and sanitation and hygiene in human development. So at the policy level, what we do is we strengthen national poverty reduction strategy papers so that we were able to ensure that WASH is playing a central role to health, to education. Like for instance, we work with the Ministry of Health to look at WASH in schools, or WASH in public health hospitals or public health units. And then we work with Ministry of Education to look at water and sanitation in schools, you know, to ensure that children are they are child-friendly schools, because the school is not a school if it doesn't have a water point and a safe toilet. It's just a set of buildings. That's our message to the Education Ministry. So we work across sectors. We also look at issues around environment and in some cases climate change, because we're also looking at water security and its impact on climate change and the climate change impact on water security. So basically we look at community-based water resources management, whereby communities are able to manage their water for agriculture, water for economic development, and then water for trade and water for livelihoods. You know, we ensure that the fishermen are protected, that people have safe water for their livelihoods. There's water for agriculture in those communities, and it's under a package we call the CPWRM. That's the community-based water resource management. So that's how we work across sectors, because for us, water and sanitation is not just about water or about sanitation. It's about poverty eradication. It's about human development. It's about education. It's about the health of the child. It's about the girl child being empowered to be able to become a leader in the future. That's for us. That's what all this means to us.